Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user RemarkableRole7685. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's wife I will never consider naming my child after her recently deceased mother? I'm currently 29 weeks pregnant with a girl. My husband and I have already chosen her name, as well as 2 backups in case it doesn't suit her. My dad's wife lost her mother a little under a year ago. They were extremely close and her passing was unexpected, so she's not coping well. My husband and I are trying to be as helpful and accommodating as possible, but we don't live in the same country as them anymore, so there isn't much we can do. Back in February, my dad and his wife came to visit us for 10 days to celebrate our son's birthday. This was our first time seeing them after her mother's passing, and their first time seeing me pregnant. Early during the trip, we had dinner together. We all started talking about my pregnancy and the baby, and when my dad asked if we had any names in mind, his wife stopped us. She asked us if we could consider naming our daughter after her mother. She said she had been wanting to ask us this since she learned we were having a girl, and it would mean a lot to her if we could honor her mother like that. I don't think I have to justify why I wouldn't do that, but in case I do, I never liked her mother or thought of either of them as family. Even if I did, my husband doesn't like the idea of using our children's names as tributes, so we wouldn't name them after any of our deceased loved ones. My husband and I were taken aback. My dad looked a little awkward, so I think he was already expecting her to bring that up. I said I was sorry, but we had already chosen the name and we weren't interested in changing it. The mood died a bit, but we did manage to change the subject and enjoy the rest of the evening. My dad's wife was quieter than usual for the next few days, but she didn't bring that up again until the final night of their trip. Everyone was at our place. She pulled me aside and once again expressed how perfect it would be for us to keep her mother's memory alive by naming a child after her. She started talking about how much she would have loved it and how a beautiful name such as hers shouldn't go to waste. I interrupted her and said there is 0 chance we would ever consider naming our child after her mother. I told her it would never be up for discussion and for her own sake she needs to accept that and stop bringing it up. I was admittedly harsher than I'd intended, but I'm not sure she would have gotten the message otherwise. She barely spoke to me and my husband until she and my dad flew home the next day. My dad and I have been talking about this. He agrees with our refusal. He didn't really like his mother-in-law either, though he never admitted it, but thinks I shouldn't have turned his wife down like that. He told me she's still dealing with her mother's passing and I should have been more sympathetic. He's insistent she wouldn't mind our daughter's name if we had at least told her we'd consider honoring her mother. I don't think humoring her would have been the best call, but I am worried I was too harsh. Am I the a-hole? Of course not, OP, you're not the a-hole, you're just a parent setting boundaries for your child and that is your job. Of course it sucks for your stepmom that she's still grieving, but that doesn't entitle her to name your baby. She made a deeply personal request not once but twice after already being told no, and that can't be excused by mourning because that is pressure. You were clear, not cruel. She needed a firm stop, not a soft maybe, and pretending to consider it would have been dishonest and prolonged the tension. The fact of the matter is that sympathy does have limits and you gave yours. Now protect your peace. You're allowed to choose your child's name without guilt. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Carrie Lee 0407 says, not the a-hole. She didn't take no when you politely said it, so harshly was the only way to get your point across. It's always weird when someone asks you to name a child after someone. It wouldn't even mean the same if you didn't do it because you wanted to. And Dopey responds, when my son was born, my dad joked that his name was available, but didn't say anything besides that and didn't complain about the name we actually chose. He later told me it was a joke and he always thought that was a bad idea. Jane Austen is my jam says, not the a-hole. There are only two people who have input into what name a child receives. The parents. Should people make suggestions? Well, in my opinion, only if the couple ask for them. You handled the situation well the first time she mentioned it, and she should have taken no for an answer. You had no choice but to be firm the second time. She should have let it go after the first time. And Dopey responds, some of my family, including my in-laws, was miffed when we didn't take suggestions while naming our son. He was the first grandchild, so I chalked it up to excitement at the time. Deleted says, you owe her nothing, especially since you call her dad's wife, so she doesn't even sound like a close stepmom. It's sad that her mother died, but what does that have to do with you or your unborn child? Don't let her emotionally manipulate you into changing your mind. And Opie responds, my dad started seeing her when I was already in college, and he wasn't interested in remarrying at the time, so I never really registered her as family. I did live with them for a little while, but we had wildly different personalities, so we were never really close. And one Yak 8698 says, not the a-hole. Your dad is picking his wife, which I'm guessing isn't the first time he's done that to keep the peace. It sounds like he thinks it's easier to ask you to apologize than it is to hold his wife accountable and be reasonable. Your dad's wife is angry she can't have her way and is using grief as an excuse. So many people forget that no is a complete sentence and that they aren't owed explanations. I would remind your father that pregnancy is stressful. You're carrying this child. The child belongs to you and to your husband. You tried to be tactful the first time and very final. If she didn't understand the first time, are you supposed to let her keep hounding you because she thinks she can manipulate you until you follow her orders? Is this a pattern of behavior with her? Does she feign upset to make your father do her bidding, or is this genuinely grief because she lost her mom and she just forgot herself? It doesn't sound like this is just grief. The way you said, I'm not sure she would have gotten the message otherwise, leads me to believe she's just an unpleasant person in general and spoiled. And Opie responds, she is spoiled, and my dad does have the tendency of doing things her way, but she's usually reasonable. That behavior always extended to wanting to go to specific places or doing specific things at specific times that either no one else wanted to do or we wanted to wait a while before doing so. I think this is genuinely motivated by grief. Spoiled or not, I can't imagine her getting to this extreme otherwise. Well, the community agrees that Opie is not the a-hole and she did the right thing. There are many theories out there about her dad's wife. So how about we move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hey guys, I came here for advice a few months ago. I gave birth to a healthy baby girl back in May. She's now a month old and thriving. We're all in love with her. My husband and I decided to go with our first choice for her name. Truth be told, the backups didn't stand a chance, and it suits her perfectly. My dad stopped bringing up the subject of how I'd talked to his wife a few weeks after my first post. The last thing he said about this essentially boiled down to, be nice to my wife, but for the love of God, don't name my granddaughter after my mother-in-law. He wanted to visit us this month to meet the baby, but I told him to wait a while longer. The house is a mess and we're still getting used to having 2 kids. His wife has been very detached from anything that concerns my daughter. She spent the weeks leading up to my baby's birth radio silent. She usually lives on her phone and texts frequently, so I figured she was still upset. Both my and my husband's families like our daughter's name. My dad in particular complimented it a lot. His wife did not react to it. My aunt visited them recently and she later told me that while my dad would show her pictures and videos of my daughter, his wife avoided the topic entirely and was cold whenever someone tried to get her to engage. To be clear, none of that even bothered me, but this behavior was very out of character for her. When I was pregnant with my son, she created a group chat with my whole paternal family and her mother to start a countdown for his birth. She was my only acquaintance who protested when I said I didn't want pictures of my child posted online. Now, about a week ago, my dad's wife called me. She reiterated that she felt I wasn't being very understanding of what she was going through, but apologized for how cold she's been lately. During the call, she explained that losing her mother had made her regret her decision not to have kids. Her mother had always wanted to be a grandmother, and she wishes she could have given her the opportunity to experience that. She took her mother's passing very hard, and it made her reflect about various things she wishes she'd done differently. But the news of my second pregnancy intensified that regret in particular. My dad's wife said she'll always wish I'd named my daughter after her mother, but still accepts the name I chose. Yeah, like she has a choice. She also told me she'll start seeing a therapist soon. I was mostly quiet during the call because frankly, I didn't know how to react. Having since had time to think about what she said, I'm a little freaked out. It's still hard to explain how I feel, and this isn't even close to my top concern right now, but I didn't see this coming. I wasn't expecting her reasoning to be that she regretted not giving her mother grandchildren. Still, I almost feel bad admitting this, but I'm very glad we're in different hemispheres. I can't imagine what she's going through, and I wish her nothing but the best, but I don't think being close to my family right now would be good for either of us. Thinking back to how I handled things, when she first asked us to use her mother's name, I'm pretty sure I made the right call. I sincerely wish I'd been more polite, but humoring her would have probably led to a much bigger headache. I'm not sure when we'll see her again. I sympathize with her grief and I'm glad she decided to get help, but we won't see her until next year. My dad will come visit us in October, but she won't come with him. When she does meet my daughter, I hope she's doing better. I feel like acknowledging that you need help is a necessary step, but actually going through with it is harder than it looks. And me? Right now, I'll focus on my children. Postpartum sucks, and my husband and I are still getting adjusted to being a family of 4. But we love both our kids so much. I don't know how I got so lucky. I almost definitely won't post again. I am very tired and very busy, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Thank you. Well, OP, congratulations on the birth of your daughter and the growth of your family. And whatever your dad's wife needs to do to get wherever she needs to be, that's on her. Of course, you don't need to worry about that. You focus on your family. So take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Deleted. Am I the A-hole broke up with heart surgeon boyfriend over his mom's comments on me being a nurse. I am a 27 female and I am a nurse. I make a good salary as private nurse for firm, which provides care for rich families. 6 figures in my country, not USA. I am proud of my career. I wanted to be a doctor when I was a teen, but it wasn't possible for my family to provide me medical education, and at the time, I felt self-hate to be nurse. But by the age of 20, I became a nurse, and now I love it. This job has made possible for me to buy my own house, car, and travel outside the country. Also, I now have a good pension plan and other savings. I can raise a family on my own income. Now, I have or had a boyfriend, Rob, 28 male, who is into heart specialty, and we fell in love during hospital visits. He was the one to pursue me. He is soon going to be a heart surgeon. His mom has always made passive-aggressive comments about me being a nurse. We got engaged recently, and all of his relatives were at a family dinner party held by Rob's parents last week. So his mom and aunts at the dinner table joked around that a heart surgeon like Rob can get any female doctor as a wife. Rob took offense and said OP is very much independent and makes a good salary herself to take care of a whole family. But his mom went on, I have had enough. I have respect for housewives, but this time I fired back. I said his mom and aunts all are gold-digging housewives with no life skills outside raising kids. They live on their husband's money who are rich. Some of them started crying and started shouting. Everyone, including Rob, asked me to apologize. I broke up on the spot and said I will not sell my self-respect for his family. I'd rather marry a normal man than a surgeon whose family doesn't respect me. I left and Rob is begging for a chance. I know he tried to silence his mom, but I don't see the future. I see a lifetime of taunts and I can't ask him to cut off his parents, which he won't do anyways. My parents are saying he is a good catch and to ignore his mom's comment, but money isn't everything and social status isn't everything. I don't want to be looked down upon, but I miss him and it is breaking my heart. No, OP, you walked away because love without respect isn't enough. He didn't stop them, he watched. Missing him is human. Staying would have meant shrinking. You chose yourself, and that's not cold, OP. That's just very clear. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Vera Sultry says, "Girl, you chose you and I respect that heavy. Like, yeah, love is cute and all, but not when it comes with the side of disrespect from the in-laws buffet. You don't sign up for a lifetime of microaggressions just to be someone's respectable nurse wife when you're already out there thriving. His mom acting like you're some peasant for not being a doctor. Meanwhile, you're out here making six figs, traveling, owning property? Be serious." And Rob might be a sweetheart, but if he can't put his mom on mute when she's coming for your whole existence, then what's the point? You didn't lose a heart surgeon, you dodged a future group chat full of backhanded compliments and "when are you going back to school" vibes. You're the prize, always were, keep the crown on. Writing Romance says, "What has he done since this happened? Has he tried to win you back, apologized for his mother's actions and his inaction at her disrespect?" And Dopey responds, "He has told me to ignore and forgive his family." Tremenda Carucha says, "F yeah, not the a-hole. I can't imagine his mom's passive-aggressive comments would drive me nuts too. Like, if she has a problem with you as an engaged woman that makes her think it'll magically stop after you're married, some people just don't know when to keep their mouths shut and mind their own business. Silly me, I guess I'm still naive enough to believe in fairy tales where the wicked stepmother or mother-in-law turns into a supportive partner once the wedding bells chime. But hey, at least you stood up for yourself and your hard-earned career. Don't let anyone make you feel less than what you are." And JunePlum79 says, "Not the a-hole. Don't take him back because if this is how his family treats you and you're not even married yet, imagine what would happen if you actually married him. He doesn't have a spine and allowed his family to disrespect and bully you, and then he had the nerve to tell you to apologize to them. You dodged the bullet on this one. Move on with your life and don't look back." Opie's edit. More to add. He has tried to stop their comments whenever I told him it bothered me. He said try to ignore, and whether he tried arguing with them, they said it is just joking and he shouldn't disrespect elders. Also, after marriage, we would have shifted to house next door. I would never have peace in my life, I realized. He will never cut them off, nor will I force anyone. It's better to end it. Alright, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and it sounds like OP already has a plan to end things. Now, before we move on to the update, just a quick warning that there is mention of abuse. Now, let's continue with the update. Hi, thanks for all your replies. Most comments gave me sense, and I am thankful. Rob and I met after that event a few days after I made the original post. He came to my place to discuss things. My brother was there, but I sent him to another room before Rob came, and he didn't know my brother was there. I just wanted to be secure. He cried, and I cried too. I told him that the only way it is possible for me to be with him is that we have to move far from his parents and have limited contact with his family from my side, as well as with our future children. He said it isn't possible and his family will be a great support system for us. He told me he will make a huge amount of money and I can continue part-time when we have kids, as he will pay me around my salary to spend. My independence is something I value and I refused. I told him that his mother will not raise my kids and I won't leave my job. He got angry and our discussion became heated, and in anger, he slapped me hard and literally ripped my shirt when he held my arm. I am a 5'9" tall woman, but a 6' man made me realize how weak I felt physically at that moment. I called my brother out, and when he saw blood from my nose and ripped shirt, he lost it. He beat Rob to a pulp that I had to stop him. In the end, we called his family and the police got involved. It was decided he won't press charges if I don't, because it will ruin his career, and I also wanted no trouble for my brother, but I have a restraining order in process. The relationship is all over. My love went to zero with that slap of his. His mother begged me not to file charges. Anyways, thanks Reddit for opening my eyes. I never knew my ex was like this before this incident, because he never raised his hand to me. If my brother weren't there, I don't know what could have happened to me. I got a camera installed a couple of days back, though I will sell this house and buy a house in my parents' neighborhood. This is a finished chapter of my life and I will not date someone for months. I am going on a 3-week trip to Europe this summer and want to heal my heart and soul. This is my final update. Thank you. Opie, it's a good thing that your brother is there and it's a good thing you're getting a restraining order. Hopefully that is the end of that chapter and you can move on. So in the meantime, here's wishing you enjoy that holiday to Europe. Take care, Opie, and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.